future and bringing players through, and that's so important for Pembrokeshire sides, Gordon, isn't it?
100%. I mean, it's important that the youngsters have their heroes to aspire to, and Luke Deadman is definitely one of them. He's come from under 10s all the way through, so they can relate to it. And, you know, Tenby have always been strong then, but now that they've got their house in order, they can go from strength to strength after this season. They'll definitely do well next season. They'll more than hold their own, definitely.
Absolutely. The young Tenby side we should mention as well, because if you go to pembrokeshiresport.co.uk, excellent coverage of all the rugby as ever. That we had the Youth Cup and Youth Plate competitions. Tenby's youngsters beat Narberth in the Plate. Tenby won 39-22, so the future looking bright there for those Tenby youngsters. Pembroke powered though to the league and cup double. They won the cup, beating Aberystwyth 33-13. But that sounds like some really good, promising youngsters on display there from all sides, Gordon.
Definitely, but Pembroke have been struggling in the senior section. It's great to see that the youth side has actually done the treble this season, Ben. It's great to see them doing so well because they need their players to come through. But what Jonathan and I spoke about earlier is the transition from youth rugby to senior rugby. Under 18s going into senior rugby is very difficult. Very difficult. It's not only the size, it's the mentality and everything else that goes with the game. They need to sort out that. The WRU need to sort that out. Either bring in a league of under 21s as a trial, or they need to
improve that pathway, don't they? That's what you're saying. I agree. I thought you were spot on what you said. Yeah. And I thought John's response was good as well. Just because you are right, the jump from youth rugby to senior rugby is big.
Manage it no problem, but the more immature players, I should say, not so mature, they'll struggle, then you lose them from the game. Ben, they're gone completely.
Yeah, there's some really good youngsters coming through by the sounds of it as well. So good stuff. And as I say, pembrokeshiresport.co.uk has some good coverage of those youth finals as well. Just on to football, Gordon, I know you've been at the Oggy Bridge Meadow quite a bit this season. You'll have kept an eye, I'm sure, on the details of the Haverfordwest County players that are staying put. They released their list of players retained and released, sticking around. I mean, there's a long list, but the likes of Zach Jones, young Harry John, who's impressed this season, Dan Hawkins, Rio Dyer, Jack Wilson, all sticking around, and there's more on that list as well. Leaving the club, Kai Whitmore hasn't re-signed. He impressed in the European campaign, didn't he, last summer?
He did.
And he's looking to see what other opportunities might come up. Also, Oscar Borg, Kyle Patton, Tyrese Owen, Martel, Taylor Crossdale, and Eaton-Evans leaving. So a few disappointing names going, obviously, but that will mean Tony Pennett's got a bit of space to bring new faces in.
Ben, it happens every season, to be honest with you. You've got to have fresh players coming in, and other players will move on. It happens every season. Tony Pennock, this will be his first proper pre-season, where he can actually hopefully bring in a few players that he wants and to establish his side as a top 6 side next season. That's what they need to do. I'm sure Tony's working very hard to bring in some decent players to fill the void of the ones that have actually gone.
And you think someone like Martel as well, who's had a good season, scored some goals, and there will be a bit as well. And I don't think the club would mind me saying this. There will be some players that will come, and it will be a stepping stone to trying to get a contract to play at a slightly higher level.
Yeah,
and that will be part of the development. They'll keep the core of the squad, but you will see that happen, won't you?
That will always happen, Ben, no matter what club you're at. Especially now where Haverfordwest are in the Welsh Premier, there will be players coming and going. You know, they will only be one season wonders and off they go. But the core of it is strong. You're right. Haverfordwest have got a strong core, and they just need to build on it whatever Tony brings in now before the season begins.
And you know, I just wonder if no European football might be a blessing, because it will mean they'll have the summer And I'll keep an eye on their recruitment, but I think Haverfordwest could go rather well next season. I think
let's not get too carried away. I know Tony will be getting carried away. Yes, they would love the break. They didn't have much of a break last season.
No.
Then, as you know, it was straight into the European campaign. It was great to follow, great to watch, and they did brilliantly. But at the start of the season, I think many of the players were carrying knocks and injuries before the season began, and then it was a case of losing some games where they would have probably won under normal circumstances, but you become victims of your own success, and that's what happened last season.
And it takes a lot of headspace from just people in the club as well, because the logistics of that European campaign. Tony Pennock actually tweeted yesterday another bunch of pre-season training sessions marked out and planned, and he tweeted a picture of the hill in Broadhaven, didn't he?
Broadhaven, Little Haven. I thought, the boys will really enjoy that.
Yeah, some pre-season sprints.
I think many of them would be running quickly to the galleon for a pint.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did think that, actually. I did think that. So yeah, pre-season planning underway for Tony at least. In the Premier League, half-time, Aston Villa 1, Liverpool 2. So the Champions League spot, well, you never know. If Tottenham were to beat Man City tomorrow, all of a sudden, the last day of the season might be a bit more interesting. Who knows? We'll keep an eye on how that goes. And where's Gordon going to be watching his cricket this Saturday? Let me give you the games. Division 1 on Saturday. Carew, Haverfordwest, Llandovery against Narberth, Langham against Nayland, St Ismals against Cresselly, and Whitland plays Saundersfoot. Gordon.
I'll just pop down to Langham. The easy option for me is not too far to go, isn't it? Go down and watch Langham play Nayland.
That could be where you head, and I do like it. And
I'll have to get there early because I hope Langham can stay in a bit longer than what they did against Haverfordwest. Only joking, boys. Don't go at me.
Well, they'd probably agree with you, Gord. To be fair, they probably agree. It was a tricky start to life back in Division 1, wasn't it, for Langham? No doubt about that on Saturday. What's the most amount of games you've got to on a Saturday, Gord?
You can fit in about 4 or 5, no problem at all. You could go a bit further afield. If the games last till 6, 7 o'clock at night, you've probably got 6 or 7 games in if you wanted to, Ben. You know what I mean? Because there's other divisions you could pop to quite close by. It doesn't have to be Division 1 cricket that you watch. No,
and actually, you do watch games in 2 and 3 as well.
Yeah.
And I'm sure on those days where you do get round the grounds, you must time it that you get a tea at one of them.
Don't get off the tea. I haven't got. Bill had it off to a tea.
Bill did have it down to a tea. Yeah,
but I haven't got it off to a tea.
No.
I tend to stay away from the teas, if I'm honest. I'm big enough as I am. So,
no cakes, anything like that.
No, I'm not a sweet tough person. I like a sausage roll or a savoury. Yeah.
I just about believe you. There was a time where I think my dad and my brother and me played in the same team simply because my mum made amazing cricket teas and they just wanted her to make her cake 3 times a year. Gordon, thank you. I've enjoyed your company. You can watch that interview with Luke Dedman and John Evans from Tenby. That will stay up on the Facebook page. Well done, Tenby, on that. It was a really good interview as well. I've enjoyed the show. We will be back next Monday between 7 and 9. We've got to go now because the mood train is ready to go. KT is on the way next on Pure West Radio. Good night.